Many riders on horseback from multiple states and locations converged at Ground Zero in New York City on Saturday, September 28, 2024, to support BraveHearts' 20-mile trail ride to Zero. It was an overcast, rainy day. However, the warmth of camaraderie engulfed all attendees through the streets of Manhattan, visiting two firehouses, Times Square, Central Park, then back to Ground Zero and the Freedom Tower. All participants shared in one united cause: to bring attention to the high suicide rate of our veterans and the ability of equine therapeutics to assist in their recovery. Mounted brothers and sisters rode side by side, spreading their welcome message to throngs of amazed and cheering New Yorkers. The ride and the experience were therapeutic and memorable for every participant. The raindrops fell, the riders rode, and the cameras kept rolling to memorialize this special event. We're here today with Ken Boyd. He's the father of a fallen hero from Afghanistan, Marine Corporal Christopher John Boyd, who was killed in action in Afghanistan. Ken, you're going to bear with me because this is a little bit emotional for me too. My dad was a Purple Heart, and you can see all the way in the background, you can see his, it's going to be tough on me, but this is what real life's about. It's good. That's the flag that he was buried in. And, there was a kamikaze hit the deck in World War II, and he ended up 6 months in the hospital. Thank God he made it. But I don't even know what to say to a Gold Star father. That's all I can say.
There's not much you can say. But, we just move forward and honor him and just keep them alive in our hearts. That's what we do. Yep.
And just so I got to do this, but just so you know, I'm honoring my dad. He belonged forever. He was in the Navy, and he belonged to. He was on the LSM 23, and he went to all the conventions, and that was his new family, so to speak. And I assume that BraveHearts is sort of a new family for you.
Oh, they absolutely are. It's one of the things that we found that really worked for us. It's the only thing that worked for both my wife and I. It just became our new family, our way to move forward.
Your son was very motivated to join. I understand he was only 13 when 9/11 hit, and that impacted him
tremendously. Yeah, he was outside with my wife at the time when he was 13 years old, and they were sitting outside on a hammock, and he said, "Mom, we can't let him get away with that." So that was his drive, his motivation.
We're here with Ken, one of the riders here, Gold Star dad. What's the feeling like being in the city finally with these horses and doing the ride?
Oh, it's great. It's an amazing feeling just being with these guys. They're the best therapists in the world. And to be able to bring the word to everybody. You look out and all the public on a Saturday walking through downtown Manhattan, it's amazing because you usually don't see 30, 40 horses walking through town. And these guys are pretty amazing at what they do, and they can just bring love and healing to the world.
Well, I want to welcome Ryan O. You could check out his name on the stats there below. Are you originally an Illinois guy? I'm just curious.
No, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay, but you're Midwestern. You're Midwestern.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
As I've already told Ken, I'm a graduate of the University of Illinois, the vet school, so a little bit of a Midwestern slant, and I really liked it. It's a totally different mindset than the hardcore New York I'm in, although the whole world is kind of blending in today's modern era. And you're involved with BraveHeart. I hear you're the longest guy riding with the troop there. Is that accurate?
So far, yeah.
And when did you first get involved and why?
Back in 2010. I was an inpatient at Milwaukee VA. After I got back from Iraq, I had some things I needed to take care of. And I learned about BraveHearts through the recreational therapist there. And they were bringing us out to BraveHearts, I think it was every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. And I went with them. And then after I accomplished what I needed to accomplish at the VA and discharged, I just kept on going out there ever since.
The interesting thing too, this is about you and about BraveHearts, and we're going to have another guest on shortly, who's a soldier. But I got my interest in horses, and I've been involved with them for over 45 years. As a boy, my dad taught me about horses, and
nice.
And he was in the field drawn horse-drawn field artillery at Ohio State, and in that process, of course, when the war came along, he got drafted, which he didn't really want to go to war, but he ended up going into the Navy. And he says, no, you don't understand. I've got qualifications in the horse-drawn, and they said, doesn't matter. Wartime, we're putting you in the Navy. So he ended up in the Navy.
It's you over there, you over there. That's the way it went. Yeah.
He said, this line's shorter, you're going in that line. We're making no exception. So it was an interesting situation. I was glued to the TV as a veterinarian. I was sitting in my office when we heard the news and the towers were going down, and I couldn't get away from them. I was expecting my then sister-in-law in from Boston, and she was on a plane, and I thought, oh my God, what if this is one of those planes? And everyone in the New York area, we're a little bit hardened in New York. We're tough people and thick-skinned, and it brought us all to our knees. So, I feel for you, and I also, my veterinary schooling was in Illinois, believe it or not, to the University of Illinois. So nice. I really appreciate those Midwestern values and the types of people that come out of there. And this attribute, now, this has brought healing to you because there's a little bit of continual closure. It just doesn't end with one chapter, continual closure by collaborating with your brothers and sisters that either come back with some sort of PTSD or some sort of affliction within the mental capacity to absorb everything that traumatically has happened. So why don't you just tell me a little bit about how that has affected you and what it means? Because a lot of people don't, thank God, don't have to live through this.
Yeah, we, if you kind of go back to the beginning, I knew nothing about horses. I'll be honest with you. I did nothing with horses, knew nothing about it. I mean, I was your typical guy. When after my son was killed, it was, no one can tell me what to do, how to feel, what to do, about any of that stuff. My wife finally went to a Gold Star Mothers Retreat at BraveHearts, and she came home, and I could see she was a different person. I mean, this truly helped her. She was actually then able to read a book, sit down and watch a TV show, do a couple of things. And she dragged me up to BraveHearts, and that's where I found the horse. And just kind of became involved little by little. One of the things that I really got me involved was I would see buses from the VA come off, 6, 7, 8, 10 guys. They didn't want to be there. They could care less about anything. They knew nothing about horses. There was nothing there. There was just a blank look on their face. And 3 hours later, they were smiling. There was something going on. They had color back in their skin. They had a little brightness to their eyes, and they wanted to know, how do I get back to this? How can, you could just see how that short period of time with a horse helped them. And I said to my wife, I said, that's what we need to do. I said, we need to do that to honor and pay forward for our son, because we knew that if he had come back, that he was going to be one of those guys, just where he was in Afghanistan, the things he was doing. We just knew that deep in our hearts that this was one of the things we had to do to keep his memory alive in us and for us to pay it forward. And that's what we did. And it truly, truly has helped us a lot.
Well, again, we thank you for the sacrifice you made with your son, and for also you coming up with a new chapter in your life, so to speak, turning the page and the vision about horses. And, there's so much therapy going on these days with horses between disabled people and prisoners and on. And our veterans have been long forgotten, way beyond what they should be. My dad passed away in the local VA. I brought him there. He always, it's interesting, because of his service, he didn't want to go into wartime, and he got drafted. And from that point on, every time the national anthem is played, he had such an off-key voice, but a deep bellowing voice. And every time it's played, I hear his voice, and I think of him and realize, how he became. And I'm sure that you're more patriotic now than ever.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just there's a sense of pride, the sense of accomplishment. There's just different things that you feel in your heart. And watching our veterans as they come on and actually getting together with each other, and there's a camaraderie there that they don't have when they're outside of the farm. And they come to the farm, there's camaraderie, they're back to where they're in charge, where they're actually doing some things. And it makes us truly happy to pay it forward for my son. And that's what we're doing. I actually bought my own horse. His name is CJ's brother. And that's kind of, and the veterans all got dog tags made for him, and I have dog tags on his saddle and on his bit and everything. So it's that's my guy, is CJ's brother, and everybody knows him as instead of brother, it's CJ's brother.
Yeah.
And they honor him as much as I honor him, and do as much for him, because we try to do everything we can for our veterans that have gone over there, and try to take care of everybody with the horses. And it's an amazing program. It really is. It helped my wife and I to the point of, he was our only child, and when that would happen to us, it tears your heart out. And we kind of look at it like we go to the edge of the cliff every night, but we just didn't jump off. And when we got the horses and we took care of it and did that stuff, that all changed. It all changed. It gave us, we kind of went to that fork in the road, and we took it, and it gave us an opportunity there's more to life now. There's actually something there to live for. There's more to life. There's some things that we need to do. And I have to thank the horse for that.
Well, your story is enlightening. It's moving. It's inspirational. I committed my entire life as a professional with the horse industry based upon the introduction from my dad. And sometimes I feel a little guilt that I never served. But on the other hand, I'm here to tell the stories. And people don't realize that these animals, we're predators and they're prey, and they feed off of us. So I'll probably get into it a little bit more with Ryan when he steps up to talk to us a little bit. It's hard when someone that doesn't know anything about horses gets in an arena with them and says, boy, this animal could kill me if it wanted to, and they're afraid of me. And then there's a bond that slowly forms between the person and the animal. We talk about companion dogs and animals like that, not only companions, but in certain sense therapy. And it's an easier connection because they're a little bit more domesticated. But I'll get into it a little bit with Ryan, I hope, on the Wild Mustang aspect of it, which I first was brought into this in 2020 when there was a film made that I did a little review on and honored that. So your horse was already domesticated and probably already broke, but for you, it was a total new experience getting up on this animal you had no experience with.
With horses, I knew it went in here, came out there. The entire knowledge of a horse, and that was it. And I've learned so much. I've learned that you got to be present. You have to be there with the horse. You can't fake anything with them. They know, they feel, they can do everything. And there's an amazing bonding that happened. It happened with me and my horse. He is what he is, but he's also, he'll come to me whenever I need him to come to me. He'll follow me around to do whatever it is, and we just become attached. And we become attached. To me, we're attached at the heart, and that's one of the best things for him.
BraveHearts, it fits into the storyline.
And I don't mean to say it that, but I mean, truly does. You're attached to the heart. When I'm not with them, I miss not being at the farm, and I just get so excited when I drive up to the farm. It's about an hour away from my house. I drive up 3 or 4 days a week and spend the day with them all the time, and volunteer and help and muck stalls and just do all the normal things that you need to do with horses. But that's what gets you into a really comfortable place. It gets my blood pressure down. I'm relaxed. I'm happy. It's my little piece of heaven, and I'm able to and help others.
I could relate to that, and I'm not a psychologist by any means, but I could tell you from years of working on these animals that I always treated them as the extension of each owner, and they're kids in some ways.
Yeah.
Tried to do the best I could for each one, and the reason is that each owner has their own bond with that individual animal, and it's pretty amazing. They're not, I wouldn't say bright. I don't say that to insult the horse industry and the horses in general, but they're very instinctive. And they could feed off of you. If you come in with a bad day, they know that. And if you have bad intent against them, walking in a stall, they know that. There are people walk in the stall and they'll kick them out. And there's people that just walk around like nothing. And he said, had they just, even little kids, I've seen it. A little kid can walk in a stall by accident And I said, you better get him out of there. That's a tough horse. And you're watching, and those horses just sit back. They realize the innocence of that child, and they honor that.
Yeah, they can sense that. That's one of the neat things we have in the barn. We have a mirror in the barn. It's before you're going to saddle, before you're going to do anything, it's check yourself in the mirror, because you have to check in with yourself before you're going to go with that horse. And that's one of the things that we do there. So leave it all. If you got something that you're carrying with, leave it outside.
You know, the greatest thing I learned from you, and I'm going to hear it again, I'm sure, from Ryan, and I also did an interview with David Glassberg when he did the movie, which I'm going to recommend people watch, is being present. And he was a grip on another set and decided to produce that film because the interview with him I found extremely insightful. He, again, like me, he never served, and he said that he couldn't believe the amount of motion and how positive an influence these horses were on the people that adopted them, so to speak, and work with them. So again, I want to thank you for your time and your service. I know today you'll be riding, not today, but on Saturday you'll be riding, and this will come out after that, and hopefully before the Veterans Day, which is an important day to me and to you. And we'll get a little bit of a piece from Ryan, and then hopefully I can get you both back on for a short stint. We could see if we can, come with a little bit of a different angle on things.
Absolutely.
My interest today is leading up to this ride to Ground Zero, and it's a special place, and it's why a lot of people enlisted. And I understand that was one of your motivations for enlisting in the first place. You weren't going to let this happen. You were in a school. You were a school teacher. You had some sort of school affiliation. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
I was student teaching in Amarillo, Wisconsin, and it was between classes. One of the kids came up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Ormond, someone just attacked the Twin Towers." And I was in the middle of student teaching, so I didn't spend much time thinking about it, but I had to think about it because as soon as I walked past the first classroom to get back to my classroom, I saw a TV on with the Twin Towers burning. And I had to go past a few other classrooms to get back to mine. And in every classroom, there was already a TV up with the Twin Towers burning. So obviously, the rest of that day, we all spent pretty much watching the news. And so I got a little bit emotional there too. And I was getting ready to just, quit college altogether and then just go and join the military. But my friend said, "Hey, you're so close to finishing your degree. Why don't you go ahead and finish that and then join?" So I ended up finishing out the semester so I could graduate, and then I joined the Army. So yeah, it just seemed like that was, if there were ever a time to join the military that defends your country and defends your way of living, that would have been the time to do it.
Well, I don't hesitate to thank you for your service. You are one of the special people that allows everyone that's in surviving in a free environment, a free country today, to continue to operate that way. And in some ways, I regret that too many of my colleagues, peers, and the kids today don't appreciate how lucky they are to have people like you. And, I tie that in again to my dad, who he saved his LSM ship from going down against a Nazi torpedo. And only in his later years, the last year of his life, he told me that story. He didn't tell me too much about the service. I think back then when you had issues, you just blocked them out, them out. But in his last year, he in the hospital, he discussed it with me. And I said, "You should have got a Bronze Star." And he said, "Nah, I was just doing my job. That's what I was paid to do." And not paid. That's what I was told to do, because he didn't even enlist. He was drafted. How many people are lost even after they serve time in service and they come home and they have issues like you told me you had? And it's not even that they had, a life-ending injury in war, but they came back with mental injuries, which people just don't realize is part of you having seen this terrible environment and living in a whole different culture.
Different culture, yes, that actually is a very good way of putting that. I I served with a lot of people who were in much more harsh environments than I was in. Yes, I definitely came home and there were a few things I wanted to sort out, but I did not. I didn't have to wrestle with some of the things that other people have that in stories that I've heard. But that environment requires more discipline, and so if for some reason you're dealt a heavier emotional burden than you normally would be in a place like that, you don't necessarily have all the time that you need to process it so that you can continue to go on. You just have to go on and suppress it. And that works temporarily. It's just that once you get back home and then you do have the time to process it, you're going to process it whether or not you want to. It's going to come out in dreams. No matter how hard you try to suppress something during the day, when your brain goes to sleep at night, sometimes it won't let you go to sleep because of nightmares. Sometimes once you're asleep, you'll wake back up. So far, I have completely escaped 100% of the nightmares that I have experienced by praying. And so in the middle, you have to train yourself to be able to do that. It takes a lot to figure out that you're dreaming, and then you can start to pray in the middle of a nightmare, because every one of them, as soon as you ask Jesus to help you out, that nightmare is over. And that's just a pretty neat detail I wanted to make sure I share, because the more people that know that, I think the more people that can be helped by that.
No, I appreciate it. I thank you for that comment. It's interesting. I went to some political fundraiser just a couple nights ago, and a fellow brought up, in a comedic way, he brought up a story. He was on a twin plane engine that he was hoping it would make it from Long Island to D.C., and he was sitting there, and the woman in front of him was on her knees praying the whole trip. And he turned to her and he said, you pray to, he said, you go to a different house on a different day of the week. He said, but we're all praying to the same God. Mm-hmm. And I think that enough people don't realize there's a power bigger than all of us. And let me just leave it at that, because I don't want to get into all the religious arguments. But if we could all just think that way, it would be great. And one other point you made, which I really appreciate, and again, I'm not a psychologist, but a few friends said to me, I had this weird dream last night about X, Y, and Z. Of course, not related to war, but related to other personal issues. And I said, I think the mind's like a computer, and it just at night tries to clean out all the garbage, just tries to get rid of it. But in your case, I think you enlightened me that you can't get rid of the garbage till you deal with it, until you head it face on and come to some resolution on your own, whether you just got to move forward and turn the page on that, or whether there's something you can do about it. So again, appreciate your service, and sorry for what you have to go through. But Ryan, you're here in New York City. What does it feel like?
I'll tell you what, I love that the enthusiasm and that absolute amazing level of energy that we get from everybody. I mean, if someone's standing behind a plate glass window, they let us know that they're there so that they can say hi to us. And then, everybody obviously on the street, it's even better because they're right there. But wow. And the New York police, they make me want to be a New York cop. I mean, these guys are great. I love them.
Well, there's a chance for a second career here.
That's right.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome.
We're here with Megan, who helped organize most of this. How's it feel?
It's a great day. We're super glad to be here at the Firehouse in New York City on Trail to Zero. We have veterans who are riding today to help reduce the number of suicides down to zero. That's what we really ride.
And how are you guys feeling? You've been quite great hosts here.
Oh, this is awesome. Having a great time. The horses are super friendly, beautiful. This is power right here.
One of the riders said now he wants to be a New York City cop after coming here. So, I don't know. I said maybe you got a second career in mind. And you guys, how are you feeling about this?
Great. It's a really cool event to be part of. Yeah, this is great. Love seeing the horses. I think she recommended we get one for the house. I think we're going to look into doing that.
I think you should. I think you should have one for the fire department.
Yeah, I thought it'd be incredible.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Robbie, why is this such an important event?
This event, for starters, brings attention to the veteran suicide rate, which is 20 veterans a day commit suicide, which just is insane and shouldn't be, and mental health of military veterans, and just to bring attention, so most people aren't aware of that, and we're trying to get that number down to zero. And that's what this event's all about. Great cause.
I'm here with Mary Moran. She's on Pumpkin. How more appropriate could you be coming around Halloween and Thanksgiving? What's it like to be in the city with this event?
It's an amazing opportunity to show our love and support for America's veterans. And what we're doing today is we're trying to promote the awareness of the 20 veteran suicides that sadly occur every day. And so the equine assisted programming is a very powerful program that saves a lot of veterans' lives. So what we're doing is we're showing support for our veterans here in equine assisted programming and escorting them on a 20-mile loop to symbolize the 20 lives that are lost every day.
Got Officer Maddie's your first name, Bergen County, New Jersey. What's it like to be here today?
It's absolutely incredible experience. I feel so grateful and honored to be here. It's truly amazing. He agrees.
He agrees? What's his name?
It's James Bond.
My name's Russell. I am a Navy veteran, and we do this to take care of the veterans, and I volunteer to take care of the horses so the veterans can come and have something to eat, and then we march through the city. And that's about it.
What's so special about this event?
It's the veterans. It's all about the veterans. That's all that matters. What they do for us, we got to help them, and that's what we do.
Along the 20-mile route through the streets of New York City, stops were made at 2 firehouses and Central Park to rest, hydrate, and feed the horses and their riders. In addition, rest stops were also included at Times Square to increase public access to this amazing event throughout the participants' Manhattan Ride. The generosity of the many police officers and firemen was incredible, as devoted volunteers provided refreshments and assisted by holding the horses while the riders took a break. The public outpouring of support was substantial and exceptionally motivating.
We're with Pat, the battalion chief here at Squad 18 with Megan. What's the energy like here, and why is this so special?
We love this every year, coming out to support our veterans in a great cause. Me especially, since I got to ride last year from here to the Trade Center. First time on a horse, I'll never forget it.
Well, next year he's going to commit to riding with you again, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anytime.
You're a natural-born horseman. I can tell by the way you're handling them.
Of course.
All right, so everyone's having a good time and everyone's enjoying the excitement.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's a blessing. Thanks a lot.
Great cause.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Throughout the day, the rains came and went. However, the spirits of all participants always remained high. BraveHearts veterans mingled with supportive mounted professionals to share in an emotionally packed day filled with hope and optimism, to spread the word of equine therapeutics helping to heal some of our most at-risk veterans. The goal is to reduce the loss of returning veterans to PTSD and suicide. As we left the final firehouse rest stop, the group entered the most populous portion of the ride, directly into the heart of Times Square. New York City police in their cars and on motorcycles skillfully created a path through Times Square in which everyday pedestrians stopped in awe to absorb the significance of the event.
Here we are in Times Square with a couple notable Western horsemen. What's it like to be here, and why are you here?
Well, first of all, it's a real pleasure to be here and get to ride with these veterans. You know, we have a program that is meant for the therapeutic riding type schools. We just introduced it last year. Aaron just introduced it last year at the American Quarter Horse Association. Excuse my horse for bumping your camera.
He likes me.
But you know, to be able to be invited to New York, you know, a couple of Texans come to New York and have some fun. Even the weather is, you know what, just an introduction to, hey, here's a little rain. But it's just amazing to be here. They're riding our horses, the American Quarter Horse. We're in the breeding business, but we're in the people business too. So
you know what? I'm gonna correct you. You're not just a couple Texans. You're a couple Americans.
Yeah, absolutely. We are absolutely.
And we like
so
the Americans
proud,
that wear cowboy hats.
So proud to be here, and so everybody's been so friendly to us. We couldn't make it any better, I don't think.
All right, thank you and best of luck.
My pleasure.
We're here with the woman who is most responsible for putting this production on. Is it everything you expected it to be?
Oh, today's an awesome day. Today's a lot of planning and preparation of a lot of horses and a lot of these awesome veterans have been working so hard for this ride, so it's fantastic.
And you got the cooperation of so many auxiliary organizations chipping in and happily chipping in.
Yes, sir, absolutely. NYPD mounted, all of their departments in the neighboring areas. The American Quarter Horse Association today stepped out with a great presence, so we're super blessed.
I am here as part of the BraveHearts group. My center is in Georgetown, Texas, and we were blessed to be invited to come on the ride with them as part of a Changemakers group that Megan is doing to help support programs all across the country. So we are super grateful that Megan chose us to come along to New York.
I'm here with guys that just rode to Central Park from Ground Zero from Kansas. So what's it like to see some terrain with hills and mountains and all that kind of good stuff?
Oh, sir, it's amazing. Coming from Kansas out there, it's open, flat plains, but coming out here in the big city, this is the first time any of these troopers or our horses have ever been out here, so this is outstanding. The BraveHearts have taken great care of us, NYPD, and all the other mounted troops, so we've had an outstanding time up here.
You know, there's a lot of veterans that take their own lives after they can't deal with whatever situation they have to deal with. Can you just give me a quick idea of the numbers of, because I don't think enough of the people that aren't involved in the military even understand that number.
Well, the last stat that I heard was 22 veterans a day are escaping from their misery by taking their own lives. One of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing is because we want to draw attention to that fact. We want to draw attention to the fact that, you know, there are ways around it. There are ways to stop that from happening. You know, BraveHearts offers a veterans program. BraveHearts is not the only program out there. We want to make sure that we spread the word that, you know, if you know somebody who potentially might do something like that, you would, you know, either, you know, do something to help them yourself or point them in our direction or another veteran program that either is offered by the VA or by an organization like BraveHearts. You know, horses might not be your thing, and I totally understand that. And I think that in order to help people avoid escaping their misery by ending their life, I just want to point this one way out. And if horses aren't the thing that you're drawn to, you know, please, you know, find another way. Just don't do it. You know, don't end your life.
I appreciate the beauty of all this, your energy here, and the fact that you're saying is they don't have to be members of your group, that they can find someplace to go. And also, I have friends that have problems with alcoholism, unrelated to war, but other issues in their life, and you know, they need to reach out and find other people that maybe are in a similar situation mentally that can communicate with them. And the thing about the horse I've learned from 45 years of working with them is they're non-judgmental. They're not a higher intellect animal, which is cool, because when you walk in, if you got an attitude, they know that. And if you walk in calm and collected, they know that too. So I've got Ken and Ryan squeezed together very graciously in a hotel room trying to give me this interview because how important this event is. And I'm going to put them on a screen after the questions. You guys work together. You come from two different slants in life. Ken never rode a horse before he got involved, and Ryan has been fascinated by horses for most of his life. And what brings you guys together, and what's the importance of I want to give you what my answer would be, but what's the importance of you bonding together to work out whatever issues there are that each have that are totally different but have a commonality? So if you don't mind, I'm going to cut myself out here for a minute, and I'm curious what your answer is.
Okay. To me, I think, we try to get everyone to all the other issues that you have, leave them at the barn door. Don't bring them in. We're here for one purpose, and that's to work with the horse. And we work with the horse. We work with other veterans. There's a camaraderie there that we all circle around the horse, and that's kind of the program there. And we all understand we're there to help other veterans. We're here to help other friends, you know, and for suicide and just the other PTSD, and for everybody like that. And it's not just with veterans, we also work with children, we work with police and fire. There's as many things going on in the world out there, you know. And so what we try to do is just say, here, all your other issues, those go, you know, you leave them at the barn door. We all come in and we have one common purpose. And I think everybody who's with BraveHearts, and Ryan can tell you, there's a common purposes and there's a camaraderie there. So.
And that is very important. I think that, it just so happens that, a lot of us who come to BraveHearts already have a lot in common. And so there is that. However, what he was saying about leaving any differences at the barn door is really important, because none of that stuff matters, because what's important is attending to the horses, learning how to help other people with horses. If that's the only topic you're worrying about, because that's really the topic that's the most important when you're there, none of the other stuff matters. You can pick it up if you want on your way back out. But the thing is, once you've become closer with the people that you're working with while in the barn, I think it even makes it a little bit easier to sort through those differences if for some reason you decide to explore them. And I think, it comes down to humility. Once you have built a relationship with somebody, I think approaching the differences becomes, people are much more careful with one another, because now you have a relationship that you care about. Yeah. And so leaving all those differences at the door is still very important. But I think as our relationships all grow, maybe sometimes you do end up talking about some of your differences.
Yeah. It's, you can kind of look at it like a pot of crabs. So if you can either, as one crab is trying to get out, you can either pull that other crab back in down to the bottom with you because you want to get out and just keep pulling them down, or you can push somebody up and have them help you lift them out. And that's kind of what we want to do is we're there to heal everybody. And so part of that thing is everybody has kind of the same purpose and the same goal is, hey, reach down and give somebody a hand. Doesn't matter what it is, what their issues are, because we're all, like you said, we're all done in cans. We all have issues. But you know what? If there's somebody there to reach down and give you a helping hand, it means the world to you.
Last year I was in Dillon, Montana. I was giving one of my videos at a film festival, and there were these two really top world-renowned cowboys there, each breaking horses in slightly different ways and each having their own self-serving egos, which were very well-deserved. They were very prominent. And they never really saw each other as friends. They always saw each other as competitors and enemies, because each one wanted the top billing and had their own little sphere of followers. And I was following one guy around the back of a barn asking if I could get an interview, which I love getting things on the fly when someone's unexpected. And he was going to saddle up his horse tied to a trailer, and the mountains in the background, and it was beautiful. And as we approached, there was the other cowboy saddling up his horse. So here we were with these two guys, and they couldn't avoid each other. And over a horse, the two of them kind of shook hands and said, I really enjoyed time with you during this seminar period, and I really have a whole new perspective. And they became friends. So I think that's kind of what you're saying, and I think that's why your organization is so important. And hopefully it spreads. It doesn't have to be a horse. It could be a dog, or it could be just a circle of friends playing golf. But it's really a good point, and I thank you guys very much. And I think your organization has a very special place.
Dr. Camilo Sierra here, one of the vets that works on the New York City Mounted. There's an entourage of many organizations. What does all this mean to you?
Well, it's been a pleasure, and it's an honor and a privilege to be working for the NYPD. I have been working for them over the last year or so, and I also provide services for the 12 to 0, which is a great organization that's providing awareness and support for the veterans of this country.
Thank you. Yeah, I got it. Everybody else take a picture. That's it. I believe that's it. We should break it down. I don't know where.
You were just being a kid. Basically. Yeah.